I know what it's like to feel broken inside, to be misunderstood. I've been misunderstood a lot of times, and I still am. And there have been times that I've shared on here, I've been broken down so bad, been broken inside and depressed severely to the point of not wanting to be here anymore and not wanting to deal with it. And it's taken me a very long time, and I'm still a work in progress. It's taken me a long time looking inside and facing my shadow and facing my feelings and facing my emotions, not running from them, not repressing them, to get to where I'm at today, going to therapy for a year and a half, and also going down a deep rabbit hole to get out of the programming of religion, to get out of a lot of social programming that's out there, to get away from all the hate that's out there. Getting away from the religious programming helped me go down the rabbit holes of different spiritual practices, different experimenting with different religious stuff, to where I am at today, where I'm not part of any religion, but coming to my own beliefs through my own experiences with the metaphysical, with reincarnation, with past lives. And I've spoke of my gender dysphoria originating from a past life. A lot of things I say here, I kind of expect it would cause some backlash. I will say overall, though, I have tremendous support here, and I'm thankful for everyone that has recently subscribed and has recently started tuning in here. You're greatly appreciated, and I appreciate you being here. But of course, there's a few people, and I would expect that don't like what I'm talking about. So I want to address some of those things. And I guess I'll start with the metaphysical, and I'll start with talking about my past life as a woman that I saw through past life regression. I didn't just see this on a whim. I've spoke here on the channel before. Of the last 6 years, I've been researching and delving into the metaphysical, been delving into different modes of spirituality. I've done hours of meditations, deep meditations, hours of meditations in nature, at home. I've experienced a lot of paranormal happenings in the last 6 years. I've had a lot of experiences that come from having an open mind, not being stuck in any religious programming, and going down that rabbit hole. And the past life regression came from that, from doing these meditations. I wasn't even trying to have a past life regression, but what I found is when you get in tune with source energy, which some people refer to as God, but not some being up there that's judging everybody, trying to send you to some hell realm if you don't do what it wants. No, source is where we're incarnated from. That's my belief. That's what I've come to believe through all of my practices and what I've seen. I saw that I was an abused female, and I saw through, you can't see, well, some people see more than others in a past life regression. I can't see scene for scene of that lifetime, but I can feel the emotions of what was going on in her life. I can see what she looked like for the most part. I can feel that she was very troubled. She was abused. She was likely abused as a child, and later on, I believe she ended up in one form or more forms of the adult industry, and then was abused further. And I think some of my past life, or I think some of my gender dysphoria also originates probably from ancestry as well. I've often thought, because my mother also went through a lot of abuse as a child, it was horrific, that I probably absorbed a lot of energy in the womb as well. So you take that, take maybe other ancestral trauma, and take the past life trauma that I've specifically had a certain amount of memory of emotionally, especially. And that's where I believe most of my gender dysphoria is coming from. So people will comment and they'll try to say things like, it's not that at all, there's no such thing, or they'll say it's just because you were at one time addicted to the adult content, or corn will say you were addicted to that, so now you watched all of that, so that's why now you're associating yourself the way you are with the trauma you watched. And I could see a little bit of why somebody would say that, but the thing is, if you've been listening to my videos, see, this is the problem I have. Most of these people aren't even watching these videos because they give themselves away with saying certain things, and obviously they're not watching all of my content because I talk about how I have worked really hard to pull myself away from that addiction. Yes, I have been addicted to it before, and I also talk on here how right now I'm actually on 96 days of semen retention. No touching. I'm not doing anything with myself in that way. And yes, and I'd say in the first 90 days there have been times I've looked at social media models a handful of times, because I'm not perfect, but corn, any hard type of stuff, no, I have not. And I've been a work in progress on getting away from it over a long span of time as well, over the last 6 years, just like working on my nervous system and working on the metaphysical and understanding source energy and reincarnation and things like that. And I don't expect everyone to believe in what I'm saying, but I would expect for an intelligent person to have an open mind to what someone is saying. Don't just come in and denounce something and try to point it to something else. That's the issue, is that you get people that do that. They just, they want to believe that they can only what they can see and hear and what they can feel with their senses is all there is. They don't want to believe there could be any psychic awareness. They don't want to believe that they actually can regulate their nervous system and that can change their whole life and their timeline. They don't want to believe. They want to believe in everything out there that is everyone's conditioned to believe. Some of these people will tell me I'm wrong, but then they're believing in this invisible deity that punishes everybody that they can't see and sends people to a hell realm, supposedly. So this is the issue I have, that I've been pulling myself away from the adult content for a really long time. It's another reason why I quit the adult store. There was a lot of problems there with the manager, and he hired a hostile employee, but I had been working on my nervous system. I had been raising my vibration and frequency for a while I was working there. And who do you know does semen retention in an adult store? What's going to happen when you do that and you're working on yourself in a place like that? It's eventually, there's going to be problems arise of a negative polarity that's going to push you out of there, because there's so many negative happenings that happen in places like that. I'm not saying it's all negative. I'm just saying there's a lot of negative polarity that went on at that store. And I'm sure it goes on in a lot of them, because people are addicted to pills they buy there for having issues. Men have issues with their performance and they're addicted to stuff they're buying there. You got people on drugs coming in there. You've got all sorts of scenarios I've talked about in the past going on in an adult store. And when you're trying to work on yourself to get away from corn, I was still working on it, working there, but it makes sense to me why I left there and why I needed to leave there. So No, I'm not working right now, but I have still made a lot of progress in my mentality. My vibration and frequency and everything's improved a lot in just a couple of months. It's moved along even faster since I've left there. So people that say this stuff to me about, oh, it's from the addiction, they're not watching me, because they're not watching all my content, because I talk about how I have improved so much from when I really was addicted to it. Now, does that mean I'm perfect? No. And does it mean I can't have a relapse to watch it again? No. I just work on myself every day to try to get better and better. And semen retention helps me with that. Even though I have gender dysphoria, and even though I feel feminine, I feel pretty girly on a lot of days. But I know I'm in this male body. So because I'm in this male body, I'm going to try to utilize what I have to gain more awareness. Semen retention will give you more awareness if you're a male, because it heightens psychic awareness when you're doing things in the metaphysical. It lets you meditate easier, lets you quiet yourself easier. It lets you block out thoughts and everything easier to connect with source energy. Source energy, for me, is feminine in itself. It's very loving. It's not a judging entity. I believe it's just where we're incarnated from. I believe it's where we go back to when we leave a lifetime. We go back, our soul goes back. I believe we have a life review. I don't know everything in detail of what happens. These are things I've come to believe over a long span of time of delving into all of this different type of stuff. So I think we go back for a life review, and I think our soul reincarnates again and again. And that our memory is wiped when we come into each lifetime. But there are instances, depending on what our lifetime is like and what our soul is trying to achieve in a lifetime, I believe that we can have past life regression. And it can happen at different parts of life depending on how much evolution your soul has had. So that's what happened to me. I had some past life regression. I remembered this female past life, and it made sense to me as to why I was having so much gender dysphoria that I've actually had since I was 11 years old. It's not like it just manufactured out of thin air at 44 years old. It came up at pieces of my life, just not very strong. It was very buried in me. It was embedded in me, I think, in my cells, in DNA, in ancestry as well. As far as past life, it's referred to as cellular debris. You could even refer to it as that was ancestry as well. So let me get a little bit of coffee here. I've got my wolf cup here. But so I just take issue with people like leaving a comment like that, and they're not watching the content. And if you have not delved into the metaphysical yourself, then you don't know. I mean, it's just simple as that. You don't have any idea. If you've never spent a lot of time, and it's not something you just do overnight, if you have not spent any time researching religion at all, or delving into different modes, like even the occult. I've delved into the dark occult. I've been on the light side of things. I've been on the dark side of things. I've looked into all these different aspects. I've looked into a lot of different aspects. There's so much more I could look into, but I'm saying I have looked into both sides of the spectrum to a point where you wouldn't think the dark occult could help me, but it has, because it's helped me face my shadow. And it's helped bring up things in me I needed to feel and needed to face. And it makes it to where you don't really have, if you had fear of your shadow, if you face it enough, you have less and less and less fear of it. and you have less and less fear of your feelings in general and your emotions in general, because you keep facing it and you keep facing it. You don't repress it and you don't stuff it down. So if you've never delved into the metaphysical and you're criticizing somebody that has, you don't know what you're talking about. If you've never tried to go out and meditate in nature, and I'm talking about days on end, or you've never tried to do that at home, you've never researched spirituality or reincarnation or source energy or any of these things, you've never researched frequency, vibration, you've never researched timelines, you've never delved into how you can regulate your nervous system by facing your feelings and emotions, and how by regulating your nervous system you can change your life and change your timeline. These are things I'm working on. And no, I'm not perfect. I'm not a guru. I don't have it all figured out. But these are the things in the last 6 years that have brought me to the understandings I have now. So I'm not going to let somebody just come along in a comment or two and say, oh, it's just from something you were addicted to or are addicted to. And I'm like, well, you're obviously not listening, because I've been talking about how I've been getting away from that addiction for a very long time, and been doing semen retention for a really long time, off and on for the last 5 to 6 years. And right now, again, I'm on a 96-day run with that, which most men can't do. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant, but they can't, because they are addicted to lust to a point where they can't get away from that. And it'll destroy you. It'll hurt you in so many ways. I know. I've been down the road. I know how it hurts you. I mean, I used to release my seed 3 and 4 times a day. It's so destructive. But I say this to say that you would be shocked probably to know, I'm talking to the women, how many men do this that many times in a day, how many hundreds or thousands of men do that. So just most of them aren't going to admit to it or face it. Or that's another thing, men that put down semen retention. Well, again, it's because you can't do it, or you're not trying to do it. You're not seeing what it will do for you. Same thing with delving into metaphysical. You're not interested in it. That's not my problem if you're not even going to look at it and see what can happen in your own life by doing it. So there's that. And gender dysphoria, it's always the same things as well, with people saying, you'll have people just say, well, there's just male, there's just female, there's I mean, I understand what you're saying, but again, these people are also not listening to the content to understand gender dysphoria. I understand there's male and female. I've also talked about that if I transitioned with estrogen, with HRT, that I understand I would not 100% be woman in this lifetime, because I know I don't have the internals. I just know that I could pass. I'm confident in that, because I have enough of the feelings from my past life and the things that have come up for me. I have enough of the feelings and emotions that carried over. And I believe I have some of the physical aspects even that carried over. So I'm just saying that for my own mental well-being, my own emotional well-being, if I'm not able to integrate the gender dysphoria and merge my male and female and be comfortable with living the rest of my life like I am right now, if I were to transition, I would be a trans woman. And I would take HRT, and I would want to fit in and be a part of womanhood with other women. I respect women, and I don't want to infringe on anything. I'd want to fit in and be a part of that. And I would still live my life probably very similar. I don't even know then if I would still be associating with a ton of people. I spend a lot of time alone because I have escaped a lot of social conditioning, and religious programming, and most people are out there wearing a mask. And I say that not as a hypocrite. I used to wear a mask. In fact, I used to wear many masks, and I believe most people you encounter out there are doing the same thing. I can see it because I did it. People want to compete with each other. They want to have who has the biggest house, who has the most material items, who has the most money, who has, I mean, think about it when you go out and you meet somebody, how many times you might meet somebody and the topic of conversation turns to, what do you do? They want to know usually instantly your work history. They want to know how much money you're making. Are you married? Do you have the typical life with the family and kids? Do you have the big house? Do you have the car? Do you have the money? What materials? There's automatically this conversation going on, which to me, I've come to, in my life, most of it don't mean jack. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, you need money, yes. I understand you need that to live, but to be wanting it to have more than everybody else is detrimental, because you're never going to have more than everybody else. You may have more than this person or that person. There's always going to be some other milestone to try to achieve. So for me, I work on my energy, I work on my nervous system, I work on my connection with source, and I stay alone so much because you only have so much energy in the day, and if you get around the wrong people and you're hanging around the wrong influences that are trying to bring you right back into all that conditioning, then you're going to get completely distracted from your actual goals. And mine is to be happy and to have just what I need. And if that comes with more abundance, then that's great. But I don't need to beat out this person or that person, or have more than this person or that person to have that happiness and have my nervous system regulated. The biggest struggle I do face with myself is gender dysphoria. And I work to integrate it. I continue to work to integrate it. But I often feel feminine, and I often feel that woman from the past want to come up through me. And I merge it as much as I can. But if I can't, eventually I may transition. And if I do, again, it's not for people to say that I can't do that, or that gender dysphoria don't exist, or that gender dysphoria comes from corn addiction. No, it doesn't. Maybe for some people. Now let me get into that. The people you're talking about, these are, I've had people say, bring up autogynephilia, and they think that every person that says they want to dress like a woman, or they have any kind of, they mistake cross-dressers. That's what I'm going to say. They mistake men that specifically like to cross-dress with somebody with gender dysphoria. And there is a clear difference in this. People with autogynephilia, they are the types that they typically are going to want to cross-dress because they get arousal specifically out of that. They get arousal specifically out of putting on women's clothes or lingerie, things like that. They go through the motions of this. They may even participate with a partner or partners doing this type of stuff. And then when it's all done, said and done, it was a lustful experience for them, and that they go back immediately to their regular life. And a lot of these men are very manly. A lot of them are, or they're feminine gay men, but they're comfortable being men. They're comfortable with everything they're doing as a man. They don't truly want to be a woman or be part of womanhood. They just like looking at themselves as a woman for that brief time, dressed up, doing whatever they're doing with their partner or partners. It's a lustful thing for them, and they're done with it. They go about with their normal daily life, happy being still in their male body. Gender dysphoria is different. You look in a mirror and there's a constant torment that can go on there. And it's at different severity levels that you deal with this. I've explained before, mine is like a yo-yo, which makes it very difficult. Lately, it's been more on the stronger side, but it can be mild sometimes. But oftentimes mine can also be in the middle, and it makes it hard to make a decision on what to do. But what I go through is the past life is carried over in me. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody with true gender dysphoria. There's different reasons why we all have it, and some people have it very strong from early childhood, where mine was more repressed and came out in spurts from the time I was 11 on. And it burst out later because there's different reasons we all experience it. But what happens, I will say we all have common experiences with looking at ourselves, not being happy with what we're seeing. We oftentimes feel feminine. We feel feminine throughout a day. We have gender envy, not because we're lustful, it's because we want to look like the women we see. We want to fit in with the women we see. You want to do things the women are doing, like go to the nail salon, but you know you can't because you look like a man. Or you want to, and yeah, a man can go to a nail salon. I know somebody's going to pick up on that, but I'm talking about go as a woman, where you can sit with other women and do and be accepted because you pass and fit in with them. And not everybody's interested in passing either, but I would, because I want to fit in. If I were to transition, I would want to fit in and be able to have, if I had the possibility of meeting lady friends that accepted me, I would be able to, and I would be able to want to be safe. It's about safety too, I feel like, for myself. I think you're safer to not be, you don't want to be clocked because there's hateful people out there. That's why. There's just hateful people out there. But do I want to be cute? Yeah, of course. What's wrong with that? Women want to be pretty. Of course I want to be cute and pretty if I transition. I don't, why? That's a normal thing to want. But what I'm saying is it's about an everyday experience as a woman. It's not even about me looking like a doll or about me having to just dress a certain way. It's more about just feeling comfortable in the body and having that feminine. I get those thoughts in my head. Oh gosh, what if you had some HRT? It would tweak you a little bit because I'm short and I'm small, and it would just, I'll think about how it would just tweak me out a little bit, and it would do a lot. And I think about facial hair removal and things like that. So what I'm saying is, men with autogynephilia, that's usually not the case. It's usually they just dress up, they do their thing. Oftentimes they've got facial hair and beards and all of that, and they do things that they like doing as a man, and they like having testosterone. Now, there are some exceptions out there, and I guess I could reference one because this person, I'll just say this person because this person's controversial, has been in social media so much. Lily Tino to me is an example of somebody that I feel like has autogynephilia, because this I don't feel like there's a lot of effort there, even though there's makeup and there seems to be, they dress up. Lily dresses up like a woman and things like that, but there's a lot of things. You'll look up Lily Tino and you can make your own judgment on Lily's videos. But a lot of people have reviewed Lily Tino. Other trans women have reviewed Lily Tino. But Lily, to me, is an example of some people that will go down the trans path, but it is from a lustful state. You have some people like that because they want to gain entry to women's spaces. They do things often that end up controversial and they make women feel uncomfortable and they never fully pass. There is an issue with that, and it seems to come from their lust, and their lust goes so far because it's truly from a place of autogynephilia that they decide to start kind of taking on the persona of a woman so they can get closer into women's private spaces. And I do think that's an issue. Gender dysphoria, totally different thing, where it's tormenting your soul and your mind, and you're wanting to fit in with other women, and you're wanting to be a part of everyday life of what living as a woman, living a female experience. Does it mean you don't have lust? Of course you do. Women have lust. I mean, let's be real here. But there's a difference between autogynephilia and gender dysphoria, and there's just people out there that don't want to look at that. They're just so closed-minded and so hateful about the whole thing that they don't research it. Another thing, they just don't research. So all of this goes back to being misunderstood and ending up in a place where you can feel broken, because there's so many people out there not dealing with only gender dysphoria, but they're dealing with severe depression. They might be bipolar. They might have any other type of personality disorder. You could have extreme anxiety. There's all kinds of things you could be going through, and people will tell you crazy stuff. They'll tell you you can just shut off depression, you can just shut off dysphoria. They'll tell you that, I mean, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, turn to God, get help, God, I would be a millionaire. I mean, it's just, come on. I mean, I how many times I got to say in my videos, I don't believe in God. I believe in source, reincarnation, and you're free to believe in God, but it just kills me how people push. It's crazy how a lot of Christians, I find, push their ideology like a cult. I mean, I'm not going to come over on your channels pushing what I believe, but they do this. And again, not watching the videos. How many times do I have to say, I don't believe in some figure up in the sky judging everybody, and I don't believe in some hell where there's some demon tormenting everybody. You're free to believe that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I find it absolutely ridiculous. That's my belief. I can say it on my channel. I don't think that's going on at all. So I'm not going to sit here and suddenly act like I can just cut off gender dysphoria. And mind you, I've been going to therapy for 1.5 years. I was with a year with a psychologist. I'm with a new therapist now. They both help treat my gender dysphoria, and they're open-minded. I talk about all the same stuff in therapy, and I'm not saying they believe everything I'm saying, but they're open-minded. They're not caught up in a conditioned program to try to push something on me. They're actually both, my new therapist now, my psychologist I had for a year, my psychologist was helping me move actually toward transitioning because she saw how much I was affected by the dysphoria. And it's kind of the same thing with my new therapist. She's concerned because she sees how hard it can be on me. I do still try to integrate it, however. But if I, there will come a time where if I can't, the only other thing I can do is transition to be able to mitigate it. So anyway, any of you going through any of this stuff, stand your ground. Don't let people bully you. Do not. I know it's hard, and I know you can end up alone for a long period of time. If you are alone and you're going through any of this, my first suggestion is to get on the phone or get on Google, wherever you live, and find therapy. See if you can find an open-minded therapist to work with you like I did. That was a huge game changer for me, is doing that. You may not be successful right out the gate finding the right therapist, but if you can do that, that gives you somebody to go to in person. If you're gender dysphoric, I can't really speak so much for the female to male experience, but you feel male to female, I really think it's good to find a female. I've had 2 females now, and it's because I want to have, because I connect to them, and I feel similar emotions, and people can dispute that all they want. That's fine, but I do feel those emotions that connect with another female. And that helps me a lot to be able to have that camaraderie in a setting, in an office setting, where I can be in that energy, in that feminine energy. So you need to find something that resonates with you. That's the point with whatever you're going through. Find somebody who resonates with you. And then from there, it's really just what you want to work on. Try to get out of programming. Try to get out of social programming as much as possible. Try to get away from... I think religion does help some people if you're exploring yourself, but don't let other people indoctrinate you into stuff. Do it because you're exploring for yourself and you're learning for yourself. That would be my suggestion. I've went through different modes of religion to explore, and it helped me learn different things, because there's pieces of knowledge in so many different things, and there's knowledge that comes from ancient sources, and a lot of that you can integrate and use for furthering your knowledge down the road. So find therapy. If you're dealing with gender dysphoria, you can also call Trans Lifeline. That helps a lot. If you're got family or friends that do understand you, that do support you, that's fantastic. But anybody that's not supporting you, try to learn to let them go. That's something that's also very important. Letting people go, letting situations go, letting conditioning go. Do the best you can to start letting these things go. Because if you get caught up in the nostalgia of, say, you've known somebody 20 years and you don't want to let them go, but yet every time you talk to them, you feel worse for talking to them, or they beat you over the head basically with telling you you're wrong for everything you feel. It's not worth keeping somebody like that around. If you're keeping them around for the nostalgia of what you all once shared, once you've changed and got away from conditioning, once you've changed and you've opened your eyes to certain things in life, once you became self-aware, you could try to turn back. I have tried to turn back a few times, but you can't forget it and you can't unsee it. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody out there. And again, yes, I am still a work in progress. I am not perfect, but the things that I have learned over the last 6 years and the situations I've been through, I hope that with some of that I share on here, that it can help someone else. And that's all I have for now, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.